All aboard! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, basketball fans of all ages, I am Beast Mike. You have now arrived at my train of thought. It's time to do these power rankings, and they're probably going to go a little quicker than normal, but I still got the 3 words or less. Let's not waste any more time and get to business. 72-73 Sixers tier. Utah, 30 for 30. Yes, that's 30 for 30, meaning you're the worst team in the league, sure, but it also means you got beat by 30 in back-to-back games. That's not great, but it's by design because the Jazz are awful, and that's just the way this is going to go. Really, Memphis almost beat you by 40, and the Cavaliers only beat you, technically speaking, by 29, but semantics, it's whatever. We expected beatdowns from the Jazz as they move closer towards the draft lottery. At least BYU's still playing. Washington, only 119. Now, this is referring to the Sixers-Wizards game that just happened Wednesday night. Washington scored 45 points in the first quarter. The fact that they only scored 119 points for the game absolutely stuns me. They did win the game. That's good. That's fine. Cool. But you didn't score more than like $140 or something after that first quarter? Make that make sense. New Orleans, almost over. And almost over really could be summed up for a lot of the teams in this tier, pretty much every team in this tier. But in the Pelicans case, yeah, this has been an abject disaster. I think you're the one team, other than the Sixers, who will be in this tier shortly, that had actual real expectations going into this year, and they've gone nowhere but south. And other than beating the Spurs, you're not really getting too many wins lately. Every now and again, you'll get 1 or 2, but it's just not great. Somebody beat Minnesota last week, though. That's a little weird, but it happened. It happened. Charlotte, watch Cooper Flag. And obviously, I mean the NCAA tournament and how things are going with Duke and how Duke has crushed challenges before them. Speaking of which, how's your brackets doing? I've got 12 of 16 in the men's field. The women's field, I'm in a similar boat, even though Juju Watkins tore her ACL. That's just an ugly injury. Hopefully your brackets are doing all right. Anyway, Charlotte season's almost over, and the Cooper Flag watch continues. Philadelphia, tickets are cheap. And I mean this for the last few games for the Sixers season. I've seen ticket prices as high as $10. I kid you not. This is basically for the Heat game and for the Timberwolves game. A lot of their other games, I think the Bucks game may have been similarly priced. A lot of the other games are like $3, $4, some are even as low as $2 to go see the Sixers play, which I don't recommend, but at least there's some games like Anthony Edwards and Giannis, and the Heat are at least a decent draw, I guess. There's some at least decent teams coming into Wells Fargo Center. Not the one that usually plays home games at Wells Fargo Center. And Brooklyn, best of worst, which is effectively what the Nets are compared to the rest of the teams in this tier. Because all these teams suck, and the Nets are probably the best of the worst. And the least punishable by trolling because they are bad. Anyway, let's get to the 71-72 Suns tier. Toronto, good gross. Remember last week when I said that getting beat by 40 by the Suns was kind of gross in a negative way? Well, Toronto must have took this personally and promptly beat the Nets by 30 in their last game. Good. Your season's almost over, sure, but at least you got that win under your belt. Miami, a playoff win. And I say playoff, obviously, in quotation marks. And I say this because of the way they played against Jimmy Butler and the Steph Curry-less Golden State Warriors on Tuesday night. They looked impressive. Jimmy Butler looked kind of standoffish, but the Heat looked impressive all the same. And Ware looked good, and Hero looked solid, and they got good contributions from Bam. Like, they were generally a good team in that particular game. Now, I don't know, and I don't trust that they can keep that up and do this consistently, but they're at the very least played last Tuesday like it was a playoff game. They're going to have to keep that up if they want to do anything in the real ones, though. San Antonio, schedule isn't nice. The Spurs' remaining schedule for the rest of this month is just brutal. And this is for a Spurs team that's not doing well, at least for the next, I would say, not even the next month, for the next pretty much the remainder of the season. It is just nasty. And it includes their next game. The good news is it's on Saturday. The bad news is it's against the Celtics. Oh. Then they have a back-to-back, but both these games are at home at least. The next game's Golden State. Will Steph be back by then? After that for the Spurs, it's Orlando. Okay, decent. Denver, that's not fun, and also in Denver. Cleveland, not fun, but at least that's at home. Portland, okay. Portland, that's a fair fight. Clippers, the Clippers are good. Golden State again, Golden State's good. Phoenix, fighting for their lives. Toronto's bad. That's the rest of the Spurs schedule. It's not nice. Of these remaining games, Portland, beatable. Toronto, beatable. No one else is like an easy layup of a win, even though San Antonio will probably steal a game or two from the rest of those games I just mentioned. Portland, not there yet. Yeah, the Blazers just aren't ready for the playoffs and ready for that limelight yet. I think we knew this, despite Portland playing well over the last few weeks. I think they're kind of sort of getting back to earth and becoming the Blazers that we expected them to be. What happened to them in the draft and where do they go? We'll see, though. Chicago, Raging Bulls. Very impressive run for the Bulls lately. 8 of 10, very, very impressive. And really locking down a guaranteed spot pretty much as your 9 seed in the East. Very impressive. I mean, granted, some of it's because Miami is somewhat cratering and Miami's only a game behind them. But Chicago is looking strong. And that's what we needed to see from the Bulls, to get it together and actually do something, anything productive. That'd be nice. And Dallas. AD is healthy, which is good because the Mavericks were struggling, and it looked like they needed to miss the playoffs without Anthony Davis. They were 3-7 in their last 10, but Davis is back, and maybe the Mavericks have a fighting chance to make the playoffs. Let's go to the 93-94 Nuggets tier. Sacramento, Beam is deeming. This was not a good week for the Kings. They did not look good. They've lost 7 of 10. They are starting to really falter. And it is very well on the board that they missed the playoffs entirely. Could be really bad. Even though the Domantas Sabonis is back. Phoenix, can you survive? Your schedule's not nice. It's not Spurs bad, but your schedule's not nice. And Phoenix has a real shot of obviously making the postseason. They have a real shot of missing it too. It's just a matter of what is Phoenix willing to do about it. They're in decent shape, but they just got to hold off Dallas and Sacramento. 3 teams, 2 spots. That's pretty much what that is. Orlando, those Raptor losses. And I would argue that's why they're currently not hosting the play-in game right now. They are, as of this moment, the 8th seed. They are pretty much tied with Atlanta for the 7th seed and could very well snatch that. If they don't, those Raptor losses I mentioned before, that's probably why. Milwaukee, get well soon. And of course, this means Damian Lillard. And that's a devastating injury, the blood clot situation. Whether he comes back for the rest of the season, we'll see. But it's a shame that he got hurt, got the blood clot issues, and will miss a considerable chunk of the rest of this year, if not the entire rest of the year. Where will Milwaukee land now that Dame will be out? That's the question I need to see answered. Atlanta, 7th or 8th. That's effectively where the Hawks are right now. And them and Orlando have kind of opened up a decent gap between Chicago and Miami. And the real question is who's hosting that Atlanta or Orlando game. I think that's the real issue at hand here. Neither team's going to catch the 6th seed currently Bucks, but it feels like they're going to be fighting for 7 or 8, them and Orlando. And Detroit, measuring stick game. Friday, they host Cleveland. Biggest home game in the regular season in a long time for the Pistons, I would argue. Just because you need to know where you are, I guess, in the case of the Pistons. Now, if you get blown out by Cleveland, that'd be pretty demoralizing. But if you put up a fight and or win that game, I think you kind of gain a whole lot of momentum and a whole lot of buzz if you do that. Good luck, Pistons. You'll need every bit of it. The 0-2-0-3 Kings tier. Indiana. Heartbreaking loss. And this loss may also have a ripple effect of where you stand when it comes to the end of the season. But losing at the buzzer to LeBron and the Lakers, not great. There's no shame in losing to LeBron because he does that. He's like that. But this loss may hurt the Pacers if they can't get home court in the first round, for example. Memphis can get 3rd. It is very well on the board. The Grizzlies are 3rd in the Western Conference. They are in a logjam with the Lakers, Denver, and Houston and the Clippers for that, and well, a few games ahead of the Clippers. They're in a logjam with the other 3 teams I mentioned here, anywhere from 2 to 5. They are the lowest end of the totem pole of this, but they're only 2.5 games behind the Rockets for the highest end of the totem pole for the second seed, which obviously is very important because if you can avoid the Oklahoma City Thunder for as long as you can, I would take that recommendation and or get home court advantage, because that could also be important for Memphis or anyone else. New York Knicks, not quite right. I mentioned last week that the Knicks had 4 straight games against mediocre to really bad to super awful teams. The fact that the Knicks lost 2 of them is a little concerning. And also the point where they got blown out by both New Orleans and San Antonio. You're not supposed to do that. You at the very least blew out the Warriors and the Mavericks. Okay, cool. No shame in losing to the Clippers. Clippers are good. But yeah, you went 2-2 in those 4 games. Not good. Not very good. Get Jalen Brunson back and please figure out your rotation and have more than the 6-man rotation going forward. That'd be good. Minnesota, very steady week. Nothing too noteworthy, nothing too insane, nothing too crazy. Just a steady week. They didn't do anything completely ridiculous. The Timberwolves didn't in either direction, but they just stayed the course, and that's all right. Still 6 and 4 weeks are going to work, and they're going to keep things level and keep things at bay. Now, you're pretty much in place for the 7-8 game right now, and ideally you want to host it. But as long as you don't do anything completely ridiculous, I think you'll be fine. Yes, you do lose to the Pelicans, but at the very least, you basically beat their brains in the following night by 41. I'll take that. I'll take that. That's fine. You got your lick back with interest. Speaking of the Warriors, Golden State is next. Need Steph back. They are not very functional and not very efficient without Steph Curry. I think we've all understood this and established it. They look kind of lost without him against Miami, and at times, without Curry since the injury, they have not looked very functional or competent. Now, there's enough room between them and the 3 teams fighting for the 9 and 10 spots and the play-in stuff where they should be okay as long as Steph comes back soon. But they are absolutely going to need Steph for the stretch run so they can survive that. And at least if you're 7 or 8, you can avoid Oklahoma. If you're the 7-8 game and you win that game, you avoid OKC for round 1, which I think everyone's trying to do that. And the LA Clippers, sneaky good Kawhi. I mentioned Harden last week. He's been balling. Kawhi Leonard also has been playing really well lately. And the Clippers as a team have been coming on real strong. No shame in putting up a fight against the Thunder and only losing by 2. Not bad. They have been pretty productive and efficient otherwise. They actually beat the Cavs I mentioned last week. They've been very good. 8 of 10. Very impressive work. Holding down that 6th seed. But they're holding it by a thread because of the Warriors. But they're holding down that 6th seed. And I think for the Clippers' sake, considering their injury histories, you want to make sure you're the 6th seed or better. Let's get to 95-96 Bulls tier. LA Lakers getting healthier. LeBron is back. Hachimura is back. And obviously Luke is healthy now. The Lakers are starting to get healthier. And we've seen the Lakers at full strength, at least this version of the Lakers. It is a dangerous crew. And a crew that I think if they match up with the Rockets, and if you're talking to 2-3 between the Lakers and the Rockets, I don't like Houston's chances. But I do like how Houston's playing, and they're next. The 2 seed. It is very well on the board that they are the number 2. They have been playing incredibly well lately. 9 of 10, 10 of 11. The Rockets are on fire right now. They are rolling with this young crew. My only concern about it is that the lack of playoff experience for the most part. Yes, Van Fleet's got a ring. Dylan Brooks has got playoff experience. The rest of you have none, pretty much. I am a little concerned about that. And not named obviously Udoka, who's obviously coached the NBA Finals. But aside from those 3 guys, I am concerned about the playoff experience. And if you got to deal with a team with a bunch of it, I don't love Houston's chances because of how nasty the playoffs can get. Denver, just stay healthy. Everyone's back. Gordon's back. Jokic is back. Murray's back. They're all in place. Just stay healthy, Nuggets. And they're one of the few teams I can honestly say, put them anywhere right now, and I trust them in a 7th game. Put them in Houston, I trust them. Put them against the Lakers, this is on the road, by the way. Put them against the Lakers, I can trust them. Put him against pretty much everyone not named Oklahoma City, and I could trust Denver to get it done because of Jokic being the best player alive and Jamal Murray being a playoff assassin. As long as the rest of that crew is relatively healthy, I feel good about the Nuggets' chances in most any other situation. Boston, Hawks or Magic? Now, you have a faint chance of getting the 1 seed. I don't see it. You're 4.5 behind Cleveland as of this moment in time. So you're pretty much locked into the 2 seed, and you're going to be facing either Atlanta or Orlando for the 7 seed. I guess the real question is, which matchup would you rather have? Would you rather have the Magic, who've got 2 very good forwards, or would you rather have Atlanta, where Trae Young could go completely nuclear in a game at any given moment? Decisions. Who would you rather face, Boston? Cleveland, only 6-4, and that's in your last 10. And Cleveland had a losing streak this time last week, which was completely weird and completely unexpected. But Cleveland kind of righted the ship a little bit, and they're getting it back on track by their standards, so the Cavaliers should be fine. It was just weird to see the Cavaliers not go have an 8-2 or 9-1 or 10-0 type of week. Maybe it's that long winning streak talking. Cleveland will be fine. There's no worries here. And obviously Oklahoma City is number 1. Other than experience, I can't find a flaw here. They're healthy. They're young. They can run. They can score. They have the best player in the league this regular season in SGA. He's got a crew with him. Jalen Williams has stepped his game up, and Chet Holmgren stepped his game up. But Lou Dort can cook people, and Caruso can cook. Like, this is a nasty team that Oklahoma City is bringing, and it's kind of felt like a state of helplessness watching them play the Kings last night, or Tuesday night, where they blitzed from the rip, and there was almost nothing Sacramento could do about it. Sacramento then made a run, and then there was still almost nothing they could do about it, because the Thunder kind of just said, you know what, we're just going to light you up, and there is truly nothing you can do. They go 10 deep, and everybody can score, and everybody can defend pretty much. It is a nasty, nasty crew. So, that's this week's Power Rankings, and coming up next on this channel, baseball predictions. I'm going to drop them later today or Friday, either one. Who's going to the World Series? Who's winning the awards? There's so many questions I'm going to have to ask. That will be the next stop of my next train of thought.